receiver. We need to bring on a wide receiver. Greg Jennings joining us on the show today. So let's go psychology here. You were an overachiever. You didn't get Ohio State. You didn't go to Michigan. You went to
Western Michigan University.
So you would think Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown didn't go to USC. Antonio Brown didn't go to Texas. So we have a history in the NFL when a quarterback gets overlooked a little, they come in with a chip and they overachieve.
Yes.
That's the rule with quarterbacks. Peyton Manning's the only quarterback last 20 years who came in as the best high schooler, the best college guy, and overachieved in the NFL. Generally, that chip on the shoulder, it's a hard sport. So you were the classic. You were very good, but you had a little chip. Big dogs didn't give you a scholarship. You end up being a great player. It should be that way with Antonio Brown because I don't even know. Where did he go to school? Like
Central Michigan.
Central Michigan. Mm-hmm. And I thought he was that guy. Is it the money? Because this is his third tantrum. Tell me what's going on with him.
Well, when you listen to former teammates who've played with him and their reports on stories that has transpired, you give him money, he's going to change. Ryan Clark, good friend, he said that over on ESPN.
He did?
He did.
He said if you give Antonio money?
He did before he got his big deal when they were going to pay Mike Wallace, and they said they weren't going to pay Mike Wallace. They let Mike Wallace walk.
Okay.
And he knew Antonio Brown was up. He knew that they were going to pay him. He said, you give this kid money, he's going to be a problem.
Wow.
He said that very same day they get into a spat. He gets into it with Dick LeBeau. And Ryan Clark now, he's very sharp, great player for the Steelers for a long time, understood what they were getting into. And as players, this is your number one fear. When you can identify one of your teammates who you know, as great of a talent as they may be, man, if we give them...
So you know it too?
Oh, yeah, you know.
As a teammate?
You know, 100%.
Well, what is it?
It's that guy who constantly is kind of on himself, feels himself. I'll give you a great example.
Let's do this.
So when I came into the league, there was a guy by the name of Brandon Marshall who's still out there.
Yeah.
He was a fifth-round draft pick, I believe. Came in at the same year. We were at the rookie symposium. He comes out on the resort campus, and he has on tights, no shirt, sunglasses. We're like, what is this dude doing? That's who he was out the gate. And then later in his career, as his career developed, he made plays in Denver, Chicago, Miami, splashes in different areas. But then he started to mature. He started to quiet. He started to understand that, wait a minute, this isn't going to be transferable into my next career. So let me fall back. Let me mature. Let me come of age, basically. Antonio Brown has done the absolute opposite. He came in, quiet guy, still's pretty quiet, but work ethic unmatched. Just hand to the plow, gonna do whatever you ask him to do. But the moment you say, here's the keys to the car, he doesn't want anybody else in the car because he wants to play his own music. He doesn't want anybody to have any input. So to Joy's point, not to Joy's, but to your point of let's sit down and let's have this
hash it out.
It's not gonna work. He doesn't want what everybody else wants. Mike Tomlin wants Super Bowls. Ben Roethlisberger wants Super Bowls. Antonio Brown wants everything for him. Business is booming as long as it's booming for me.
So he's one of those guys.
He's one of those guys, and it's tough because you look like when he got into the National Football League, a special teamer. He's always had to work to get to where he was.
Yeah, if he was a quarterback, he's the classic what you want.
Yes, and then to just see him implode like this, it's really disappointing. I just think the Steelers are going to have to part ways.
Listen, he showed up to training camp in a helicopter. You know, there's an old saying, and was it Maya Angelou said this, that like people will tell you who they are. Believe them. If guys are showing up to practice in a helicopter, that's pretty good indication that they're going to be about stuff and show you what they are.
Yes, it's a show me. It's this persona that I have to uphold.
Why is it always wide receivers?
It's not always wide
It's
receivers.
a lot of wide receivers.
It is a lot of wide receivers.
It is. It's a lot of ego.
I can't honestly, I
don't
can't answer
either.
that. And I think
I have a theory on it. My theory on wide receivers, you break the huddle first. It is the most basketball-driven position in football. You don't need a blocker. You don't need a handoff. Hey, I'll beat my guy in the perimeter. Throw it up. It is an isolation. It is a me position. It is a, hey, you guys are in the system. Hell, I just break the huddle. I'm going to go down the sideline. It's the only time in football where you say, hey, we're going to throw it up and make a play. Football is very choreographed, very efficient, very driven, on a chalkboard. Aaron Rodgers like, dude, I'm going to throw it up. You got to make a play. It's an NBA position. NBA empowers the athlete. So these athletes, you guys all come in, you're stars out of college.
It's also the main highlight position.
Yes.
I would agree
like
more
if there's
with
a long pass, if there's a Hail Mary, you're going to show the quarterback throwing it. Like, oh, it's a great throw, but you're going to show the catch.
You're very rare. You're no maintenance.
No.
You're a no ego guy.
And I'm Colin, this was why. And I think if more players were like this, we wouldn't have this issue. The more you garner attention, the more everybody is going to pay attention to every little detail that you do that is not correct. And so for me, I didn't want to show my quarterback up. I didn't want to show him that, dude, you missed the throw. I'm yelling at you. Driver in an interview he did dropped a couple balls. He was like, that's not my first drop of my career, and if I continue to play, it won't be my last drop. Period. And when he said that, I immediately took that like, you know what? That's 100% correct.
He killed the story.
He killed the story, but he understood that I'm going to make mistakes just like everybody else in here is going to make mistakes. It's how I bounce back from that mistake. It's how I show resolve in that. And for me as a wide receiver, I never wanted to put the spotlight on me any more than I knew that it already was going to be.
But you are rare.
Yeah, you know who was very good at that? Andre Johnson.
Oh, come on.
Andre Johnson.
By the way, it's funny. I've always said this before. I'm very reluctant to give receivers money. But all the receivers I would give money to, Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, Andre Johnson, Julio Jones. I don't get the ego.
Yeah.
I've always been like Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham, Ocho, T.O. It's not about their talent. Is when you pay somebody a fortune, it doesn't matter if it's a lawyer, a doctor, an athlete, a writer, you're paying the personality, not just the position.
Agreed.
You got to be very careful on who you back up the Brinks truck to. I would have paid you a fortune.
What, would you still pay me a fortune?
Now you're slow and hold. I wouldn't give you a nickel. I would give you a nickel now. All right, stick around. Greg Jennings. We're talking about the playoffs coming up. The Herd.